Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Welcome to the second edition of our webinar series, exclusively for startups. Before we jump right in, let us quickly introduce ourselves. I am Alexia, and I work as an account manager on the Swiss market and take care of high potential clients.
And my name is Karen, and I'm a digital marketing consultant for startups.
Perfect. So what are we up to today? First of all, Karen will give you a bit more background about our display network, why you should use it, how to use it, and how you can grow your business by the use of the display network. Second, I'll take over again and dive with you into our video platform, which is YouTube, and how you can successfully advertise on YouTube. In the end, Karen will give you a bit more background about our tools before we then take time for your questions. Great. Maybe to put this webinar in a context, as I said today, the focus will be on our display network, which consists of partner websites and YouTube. Last week, Kati and Philip gave you more background about Google Search Network, which is search campaigns, maps, and shopping. And if you haven't watched this, I recommend it to have a look at the webinar of last week. Great. So,
yes, I'm going to talk to you about how you can expand your reach with the display network. So as a startup, you would like to reach as many potential customers as possible across the digital advertising landscape. While search has been a good starting point for your AdWords campaigns, and as explained in the first webinar, after you got a bit more familiar with it, you should definitely leverage the Google Display Network and set yourself up to success. This might be especially interesting for you if you have push instead of pull products. So meaning you would like to showcase them and let people explore them, as you can raise your brand awareness greatly in the display network. Okay, so why should you use the display network? The decision to use the Google Display Network can help you reach people while they're browsing their favorite website or showing a friend a YouTube video while your potential customers are checking their Gmail account or using mobile sites and apps. So there are three major benefits. First of all, AdWords provides free tools to help you create, measure, and optimize your ads for the display network. You can indicate your marketing objective, and we will bring you only the features that are relevant to what you want to accomplish. And thirdly, you can also maximize the results for branding and direct display campaigns with the display network's measurable performance. And if you're more the numbers person, the display network reaches 90% of global internet users, which means ads are served across more than 2 million websites. So if this doesn't convince you, what should? So on the next slide, we give you an idea if you don't really know where to start and how to start, and you don't really know where you are yourself, where you would position yourself as a startup. You can either, if you have little or no experience with display network, you can either start by using the campaign type search with display select, which means you can manage the campaign basically like your search campaign, but you have the same features like set a budget, choose relevant keywords, create ads, set bids, and so on. Or if you think, okay, I'm ready to start with a full-on display campaign, you can just jump into it and create a display-only campaign to make use of more features available in the display network. And once you feel comfortable with it and you think you're ready to even dedicate a whole account, we really recommend setting up one account for display and one account for search, for example. So this is just an idea or suggestion on how to start using the display ads. Then we would like to introduce to you the different formats or give you an overview. And as a startup, you are probably rather an expert in try and error so far. So testing out new things is the way to go, is what we recommend. I think your customers should be the same. So they're browsing their websites on the internet and they get inspired by new input. So you really have to make sure to grab their attention and really let them discover what you have to offer. For that, we offer different types of ads. So for example, we have the simple text ads, which means you have text ads that you can show in the GDN Google Display Network. And they can take many different shapes and sizes depending on your preferences. Then we have the responsive ads, which automatically adjust their size, appearance, and format to fit available ad spaces. So that's kind of the benefit of them. And then we have the image ads, which are just standard images, which are a great way to influence consideration because, it's kind of enticing to customers. Then we have the Gmail ads, which means it's like an expandable ad at the top of your Gmail tab. And it really helps you reach people when they are, for example, checking their emails and to raise awareness. And finally, we have the Lightbox ads, which means, or they can let users engage with a tab that expands to show rich media, such as video games or images, maps, or a shopping experience. And about the image ads, we do have a tip for you. You can even use cool GIF pictures in your ads, but you just have to make sure they are compliant with our policies. But I will get into that a bit later on. And just to kind of give you an example or help you understand how this would benefit you, I'm going to give you an example. Imagine you are selling really trendy unicorn pajamas. And instead of just writing about it, you might want to include some nice images or engaging ad formats to really showcase your product that potential customers might not even know existed. So as a result, you can use the Google Display Network as a multiplex discovery channel. Just use the different ad formats that we offer. Okay. Then once you've decided on the ad format, you should decide on your targeting methods. For this, we have 5 different targeting methods. You can totally choose which range of customers you would like to target, which sites or pages your ads can appear on, and you can engage people with a variety of appealing ad formats. For this, you have the demographic targeting, which means you target prospective customers based on age, gender, parental status, region, language, and more. You have the keyword targeting, which means you just, as with regular search ads, target people who are visiting or have visited websites with content relevant to keywords you enter. It's an easy way to target a lot of people with specific criteria. Then you have the affinity audiences. So this means reach audiences which are based on their specific interests or while they browse pages, apps, channels, and content across the display network. And you can choose from 80 segments based on online behavior, including movie lovers, foodies, sports fans, unicorn pajama lovers, anything basically. And then you have the custom affinity targeting, which means you can customize existing affinity audiences for further capture prospective customers. So, for example, rather than sports fans, you can, for example, reach marathon runners if you're a shoe company or anything like that. And finally, the managed placement targeting. If you know that your audiences or prospective audience frequently visit specific sites, you can directly target these sites. So for TrueView in-stream ads, you can target specific YouTube videos, a YouTube channel, or even websites on the display network. This might require a bit of experience and trial and error, as we already said. And then we also have 2 tips for you to use this. So first of all, you can combine these targeting methods. So you can use demographic, keyword, and affinity audience targeting. Just be aware that the intersection of these 3 targeting methods will be smaller than each individual targeting, because you're only targeting the overlap of these 3 or 2 or 5 methods you use. And our second tip is that you have even more control over the targeting settings. So you can either use target and bid. So target and bid would restrict the ads to showing for the targeting method you've selected only, or you have bid only, which only restricts the ads to bids. So I hope this clarifies a bit the options you have. Now we also have something to follow up. So once you've set up your display campaign, you can also grow your customers with remarketing. What does it mean? For an ad campaign to be successful, it's also critical that you show the right message to the right person at the right time. And with remarketing, you can tailor your ads exactly to users based on their previous actions on your website or ad. So this can be beneficial to you because it helps, or it creates brand awareness, or helps people remember your brand. This means the more someone is shown your brand, the more likely they are to buy from you when they decide to make a purchase. So use remarketing to drive more traffic to your website and promote your brand. Then find the best message to connect with each other, with each user. So you can use tailored messaging for this. You would use remarketing as an opportunity to speak to different segments of your audiences. For example, messaging that would work for a first-time visitor to your site likely wouldn't work for someone who's a returning visitor and who has been to your site many times and maybe knows your site inside out. Then the third benefit would be that you would get more for your money, which means you can lower the costs in the way that when you reconnect with people who have already visited your site or who are already familiar with your service or product, they would be definitely more likely to buy if they click on your ad. So you can bid up more to this smaller, more targeted audience, and you can definitely end up saving money because you only target the relevant potential users or customers. And finally, you can increase sales or lead generation. So this means higher conversion rates, translated. So someone who has seen your product or service before is definitely more likely to purchase than someone who's seeing it for the first time. So when you bid on these more qualified leads, you're more likely to see a return on your investment. So just remember, remarketing is a good way to kind of reach these customers that have been on your site that might be potentially interested, and it enables you to kind of focus on these and save a bit of money by only targeting the likely customers in a way. And even as a tip, even if many people might not make a purchase, the first time they come on your site gives you as well data and interesting insights and provide you valuable clues to their interests. So if they don't purchase, at least you know more about your customer type. And also we will provide you with material that we cover here after after this webinar, and we will also help or explain to you how you will be able to implement the remarketing. It's just very theoretical, so we didn't cover it here. But in the material, you will see how you also would implement the remarketing tag and how to set up remarketing. So don't worry about that just yet. And finally, this is the last point that is really important to us and that I definitely would like to keep you in mind. Is our policies, because if you do remarketing, you have to be really aware that there are some topics we would not appreciate you remarketing on because they are sensitive interest categories, and we would not like you to promote advertisers' products or services targeted at these interest categories. So we define sensitive interest information in terms of the following 3 policies, which is personal hardships. So obviously we would not want to exploit any personal difficulties, struggles, or personal situations that fall under personal hardships. Or we would not like you to target on identity and belief, because it's like a part of a person's fundamental identity, and we would not like it to be used in order to make money of it. And finally, sexual interest. It's also a sensitive topic, so we would prefer you, or we wouldn't allow you to make remarketing based on these interest topics. So this is it to the display network remarketing, and I will now hand over to Alexia to deep dive into YouTube with you.
Exactly. So let us now focus on the YouTube part, which is all about video advertising. Now, again, YouTube advertising basically allows you to promote your video and your YouTube channel on our video platform YouTube, which has over 1 billion users. Videos basically are a great way to engage people who have no previous experience with your brand or your startup. So it really helps you to get your idea or your startup out there and engage with the customer for the first time. Now, first of all, maybe where you can show your ads. So there's 3 different ways. One is the actual YouTube homepage itself. You have the possibility to actually get a big part, and mainly the top part of our YouTube page, for 24 hours. However, we'll get into this later on in more detail. The second, and also the most important and mostly used format, is to get your video placed in front or during other videos, which is the actual YouTube watch page. So when people are watching other videos, you place your ad actually in front or during the video that the person is watching. And the third, is the YouTube search part. So this actually works almost the same as Google search. So means when someone enters into the search field on YouTube a query and says, I want to watch a video about, let's say, Taylor Swift, then you can basically place your video into the search results on YouTube. Now, the actual formats. So as I said before, there is the possibility to cover your ad or place your video on the actual YouTube homepage. Now that's, however, a format we will not focus on today, and it's called masthead. With a masthead, basically, it gives you a 24-hour impact placement on our YouTube homepage, and it is great for mass exposure and driving a lot of video views. The second that we won't cover is the standard in-stream. This is basically a non-skippable video that you can place before other videos, and you are charged when the ad is loaded. Whenever you are interested in such video formats, please reach out to someone of us directly, as these are not purchased on an auction-based procedure. However, what we're going to focus on today, and what I think is also in a startup phase, the more adequate and the more suitable ad formats are bumper ads, TrueView in-stream ads, and discovery ads. Now, let us start with the TrueView in-stream ads. TrueView in-stream ads are actually highly engaging and highly visible ads, as these are skippable after 5 seconds by viewers. So the viewer will see your ad for at least 5 seconds and then has the choice to click on the skip button or keep on watching it. And you are only going to pay if the user has seen your full video, if the video is shorter than 30 seconds, or if it has seen at least 30 seconds. So this means you're actually only going to pay if the user chooses to continue watching and is going to basically consume at least 30 seconds or your full video. Now, before you start with TrueView ads, what is really important is it's really easy to set up a video TrueView campaign in your AdWords account. These are done by creating a video campaign. And the standard bidding strategy you choose is so-called CPV. This is basically the counterpart to a normal CPC bidding strategy, and is called cost per view. So means you can choose what you are ready to bid for one view, which is, as I said, 30 seconds or your full video. Now, to actually show your ads, and promote them by TrueView campaigns, you'd have to create a YouTube channel and upload them on your YouTube channel so that you can actually, in AdWords, when you set up your campaign, link your video that you want to promote with the AdWords campaign. And also, when you are about to promote your video with TrueView campaigns, you'll see loads of very video-specific metrics. So that means you'll see, okay, how many impressions did I have? Impressions then would be how many people have actually seen the video, or even only the 5 seconds. So whenever the video starts to show, this would be an impression. Then you have how many views did the video actually record, which is the people who haven't skipped, and the view rate, and so on. Now, the second forward we're looking at today is the YouTube bumper ads. Now, these ads are non-skippable, which is the main difference with regards to the TrueView ads. YouTube bumper ads are 6-second long videos that, again, will show during or before another video, and the consumer or the user actually has to watch them. So there's no skip button. What this allows you is to actually get a lot of reach as they're short, and it's really, really simple to get your brand out there, and really easy in a short and really funny way often as well. Also really important, as we now live in a very mobile-focused time, where a lot of our users are focused on their mobile device, which is basically their best friend, bumper ads get even more valuable, because bumper ads are optimized on mobile, and mobile users often, as they're on the go and very impatient and just have small little moments to actually engage with content, they only want to see short, very concentrated content. And then YouTube bumper ads is the perfect response to this. Again, it's really easy to set them up. It basically works in the same way. You set up a video campaign, however, you would just choose the ad format bumper. Now, thirdly, there is different features that you can use with your campaigns. The first would be the companion banner. The companion banner is a 300 times 60 image that you can place on the top right-hand side next to your video, basically. And the cool thing about it is that it's going to stay even if someone has skipped or finished viewing the video. So if you, for example, want the viewer to come to your website and get a free trial, you can include an image as a companion banner with your logo saying, get your free trial now, with a very strong call to action, which is one of the very important best practices anyways, that will stay after the video. So it enhances basically the chances of getting the user to your website. Then second, another feature that we have are the so-called YouTube cards. So basically that's sponsored content or little cards that you can place on top of the video, on top of the watch page basically. And so these kind of act as teasers for a few seconds and could be, for example, cards to other playlists or to your channel. Thirdly, another feature that we offer within YouTube is the end screen. And end screens basically drive engagement and performance at the end of a video. So whenever you place your video, obviously your aim is to get your brand out there and get users to engage with your startup and your idea. But really important, I guess, you want them to do something at the end of this. And end screens are one of the opportunities you have to get users to do something. And maybe, you know, this could be subscribe to your channel or visit your websites. End screens, call to actions appear during the last 20 seconds of the video, and you can add up to 4 types, as you can see on the little image. They run on all video ad formats, so as I said, they would run on bumpers as well as on TrueView. Perfect. Now, Karen already walked you through the different targeting methods on display. Now, this, of course, applies to YouTube as well, and we have many different targeting opportunities in YouTube. This also is crucial to you because YouTube, obviously, as I said, has over 1 billion users, and we have so many opportunities to get our ad out there and to get our startup idea out there, get new users and customers. However, it's really, really important to actually choose the right audience and show our ad to the right people. Because obviously we want to get the people that are likely to be interested in our business and likely to be interested in our services or products. So the targeting methods, they can help you really reach your target audience and the people that are the most valuable to you. Now, again, of course, what we can use as a very basic targeting method is demographic targeting. Here again, you can only choose to show your ads to different age brackets. And let's say, you know, only show to people who are above 45 years old. You can also target based on gender, parental status, or in some geographic areas based on household income. Then, second of all, what we have is also so-called placement targeting. So this would be, you are not actually choosing what kind of people you want to target, but you are actually choosing what websites you want to target. And it's really important to understand that whenever we talk about targeting, we always have 2 basic ways of targeting people. Either we're trying to target the actual users based on their behavior and their needs and interests, or we try to target the actual websites and content, hoping that these people we want to reach are there. And that would be placement targeting. So, for example, if you're selling a very new, innovative kind of hiking shoe, then it would be hard for you to find out, okay, is this only relevant to people above 40? Maybe not, but you know, okay, this would be relevant to people who are fond of hiking and thus browse on hiking blogs. So that could be interesting for you and to show your ad on blogs that are related to hiking. So placement targeting would be the way to go for you. Then now let's switch back to user-based targeting. That would be, as Karen already explained before, remarketing. So that would mean you could show your video ad based on, or actually to exclusively people who have been on your website, who have subscribed to your channel, or who have seen other videos of yours. this gives you the opportunity to kind of create a more comprehensive customer journey and to engage with users in different formats, different ways, and different moments. Now, how you use this, you can be very innovative and creative with it, but it really gives you the opportunity to either remind people who've been on the website or people who have seen your video, and so on. The next would be affinity targeting. And this really would mean that you can choose users and show your ads to users who share different interests. Interests are different categories, as for example, people who are interested in, as I said, outdoor sports or travel in Southeast Asia and so on. There is a very broad and a big variety of interest targetings that you can choose. And this, again, just to put it in context, would be user-based targeting. So your video would just be shown to people who, based on their behavior online, show an interest and a consistent interest in different areas, such as, cooking or sports or luxury travels. Then also, what you also have the possibility on YouTube is to set up custom affinity audiences. So you can actually add your audience interests and include web pages with content that your users care about. So you can really, tailor and set up your own affinity audiences. And last but not least, we have the possibility to target in-market audiences. And these are as well, it's user-based targeting, but unlike affinity targeting, these people do not only share an interest in a topic, but they're actually, based on their very recent behavior online, show an actual purchasing intent in this kind of product. So for example, that would mean if someone has recently been looking a lot into interior decor web pages and specifically been, interested in browsing sofas, that would mean, oh, okay, so this person currently seems to be in the market for a sofa and would then, for example, be in the in-market audience, therefore. So you can see we really have different targeting opportunities, and you can combine them however you want. It's always really important to know your goal and your aim of your video campaign. If it is really just to get, reach and show your ad to a lot of people, then obviously you wouldn't really choose a narrow targeting and, use different sites. So let's imagine if we set up demographic targeting on top of affinity targeting, and then also showing, okay, so we have demographic affinity, but then also want to only show the ads on different websites. That would be a very, very narrow targeting, and our video wouldn't show very often. So it's important to know your aim, your goal, and then choose your targeting methods accordingly. Also really important when you think about YouTube targeting, and you're probably already active with us on other networks, as for example, you have search campaigns already and you do already have remarketing lists of people who have been on your website, try to learn from this. Go into your shared library, have a look at your remarketing lists of, either people who've already purchased on your website or people who have visited your website, and see who they are. See how old they are, see what affinities they have, so what interests they have, and look for what kind of products they're in market, just to understand your audience. Perfect. Now, the next part we should look at is the video content, actually. It's really important when we talk about video advertising on YouTube that we actually focus on the content, because the success of your video campaigns is crucially influenced as well by the quality and the actual content of your video. Now, from our side, what is really important is that it's short and concentrated. As I said, people are on the go and they're receptive for a short amount of time. So also use it. Tailor your message that you can bring it across in a very short amount of time. Really also show viewers what the ad you're showing is about, what your business is about, and what your message is that you want to get across. Include clips of your content and make the ad in the same style as the content on your channel. So it's also kind of part of a big identity you have online. Really, really important, and I already quickly talked about it before in the context of our features, use calls to action. Whenever you put an ad out there, don't only show your brand, but also really include a call to action. So what is it that you want the user to do afterwards? Visit your website, subscribe to your channel, get a free trial, and so on. So really take something catchy and identify what is the goal or what should be the next step of a video user to do on your website or wherever. Make it interactive, use annotations and these cards, as I said, the different features, invite the users to interact with the ad, make it emotional and catchy. Also, really, really important, and this especially comes into play when we talk about true view ads. As I said, the true view ads basically only show fully if the person chooses to not skip. However, still, if the person chooses to skip after 5 seconds, you have these 5-second impressions that are for free. You're not paying for them, and it's really important to use them in a powerful way. Also, the choice of the user to actually skip or not skip will really depend on the content that you show in the first 5 seconds. So make it catchy. Kind of try to tell a little story in these first 5 seconds. Show your brand in the first 5 seconds, because then even the people who will skip have seen your brand. Already include a call to action, and make sure that really your message can be basically all squeezed into these 5 seconds, and that, like this, you can also benefit from the impressions and the people who have skipped, because they still have understood your message. Also really important, try to make sure that your video that you put out there and that you promote is actually tailored to YouTube and the format you're using. Really great content makes a great ad. Again, it should be, emotionally compelling, entertaining, but also informational. Really take your time and browse best practices or really successful YouTube ads. There have been amazing creatives out there that have had a lot of success. And also maybe what is important, especially in an early stage, use more than an ad and test different creatives. So maybe, it's recommendable to set up different campaigns and test different ads for a short period of time, show how they performed, how were view rates. Oh, maybe one ad, this could be also different audios and so on, has shown a much better view rate than the other. So then, if you plan to go on a higher or bigger scale, it would be recommendable to then use this ad. Now, it's, from a more holistic and strategic point of view, it's quite important to always have a full funnel content strategy. And basically what you can see here, the slide that we have here, this is now only referring to video. However, on a bigger scale, it's also really, really important to have a full funnel strategy. And a full funnel strategy basically means to, always engage and address your user in the different stages of decision. And if we take a very classical example of, for example, an online retailer that, again, wants to sell, I don't know, a new shoe, or let's take the innovative new hiking shoe that I used before. At the very bottom of the strategy or the funnel would be a sale of the shoe. However, it's really hard to just, get users to go and buy a shoe. And what is important is to have a strategy where you also try to get your brand out there when people are maybe not yet ready to buy this shoe, but then to address them and raise awareness in the first place with, for example, a video. Whenever they have seen your video, maybe once, twice, or 3 times, afterwards they've gone to your YouTube channel, they've interacted with your brand, they might know about your brand. However, they're maybe still not ready to go buy your shoe. And then what could be an option to actually bridge this gap and get them to buy your shoe and really get them considering about buying their shoe would then be what Karen has shown you, a display strategy. So then, for example, a great way to actually link YouTube with display would, for example, be to remarket the viewers of your video with image ads in the display network. And then, finally, we hope maybe, because they have seen our video at a couple of times, they've interacted with our website, and then they have been reminded with image ads in the display network. For example, they're ready and they're going on search and are looking for your brand, coming on your website, and then might buy the actual hiking boot. So this is really important. Have a strategy that is interlinked to each other and addresses the users in the different stages. Also set your KPIs according to different stages. And now, more related to video, also here, it's important to have a full funnel content strategy. In the beginning or at the bottom, it's important maybe to just show your ad to people who are on pull. So they're actually looking for different content, and just you try to place your ad whenever they're already receptive out there. In the next step, that would be one scale higher. There you could more have a hub strategy. A hub strategy is really more pushing content out there on a larger scale, regularly and more scheduled, hoping that people are actually going to interact with your channel and so on more frequently, getting more loyal and more considerate with your brand. And then the hero, which is the large scale that we know from very big brands who have big, YouTube campaigns and successful ads that are out there. They are really designed for broad awareness and are focusing on a very large scale. However, I think it's important, to be successful with YouTube in an early stage, and especially as a startup, choose your aim, know what you're aiming for, choose your audience, really important, and then get your creative right, tailored to your audience to reach your aim. Now, these, to check your account, again, really important, evaluate your creative, as I said, choose it right, test different videos, choose the different features that we had a look at. Really important, include a call to action, and use your free 5 seconds in the TrueView in-stream wisely. Then evaluate your targeting, choose the right location, languages, with the aim of your campaigns. And then thirdly, what we haven't talked about, evaluate your bids. So really depending on the different formats you're using, for TrueView, it would be classically the cost per view bidding strategy that you're using. Start with a bid, see how you're getting out there, how your impressions are running. And the beauty about our products is that you can constantly learn and adjust. If you're maybe using rather bumper ads, there the bidding strategy would be CPM, which is translated cost per mille, which is cost per 1,000 views. And there as well, start with suggestive for you ideal CPM, and then adjust if the impressions are actually not out there. It really depends on your targeting. You can imagine the narrower your targeting, and the higher your bid would have to be. And then important to understand the impact of your ads. Really use all our great metrics and information that you get about the success of your video ads. Perfect. So that's it about YouTube. Happy to answer all your questions later on, but now I'll hand over to Karen, who will walk you through the Google tools.
Yes, thank you, Lexi. So it's just a quick overview actually for you to see what are the tools we offer and how you can use them to maximize your performance, basically. So generally, startups actually often tap into new market segments, or ideally even drive innovative business models. So there are also major challenges in entering these new market segments. For example, really having a clear understanding of who your audience is and how you would target your customers effectively. So these are some tools we put together just to help you tackle these challenges. So first of all, how would you identify your audience? For this, we have Google Trends and YouTube Trends, which kind of is a real-time resource to retrieve information and consumer research, to have access to what exactly are their behaviors and to gain insights into like the general market, general trends, what are spikes, when was the low, is there a seasonality, all of these things. We really recommend you to just gain more information. You might not be 100% sure you have this target audience, but maybe you have even more people that could be interested and that could become potential customers. So really use this, and also the consumer barometer, which helps you to learn more about the consumer journey from the moment where they consider your product or become aware of your product or service until the point of purchase. Then we have two tools which are not mentioned on this slide, but just as a refresher, because they probably have already been mentioned in the first webinar, which is the keyword planner and the search term report. These tools will help you to target your audience, and as you also can use keywords to target your audience in the display network, it's also recommendable to just have a look at it and just see which keywords you might be missing out on, or which keywords you should exclude maybe, and in general to see what searches your keywords matched and to harvest new keywords and negative keywords ideas. And then finally, once you've identified and targeted your audience, you can also use the following tools to understand your audience better, which would be a more deeper data insight. And for this, we offer YouTube Analytics and Google Analytics. So with YouTube Analytics, it's basically a more detailed monitoring of the performance of your channel, and you can just see any metric from the average watch time, traffic sources, generally profound demographics. Alexia already explained some parts of it. And then you can also use Google Analytics, which is used to kind of analyze the users on your website. So not only your channel, but or video. You can also see how do users actually behave on your site. Where do they spend more time? Do they bounce at a certain page? How is just generally their behavior? In line with that, we also have the audience insights. So also who is engaging with your website, just to discover more about your users, so demographics, interests, and then to use this information really to implement your targeting more specifically. And just it's a process, you would start by experimenting maybe a bit with your keywords. Then you would use these insights on your YouTube channel and your website, and then you would kind of refine the keywords and targeting methods. It's a process, but it's definitely worth using these products as they are for free, and they give you really, they really help with the whole setup. And then finally, we have Think with Google, which is just generally about consumer trends and industry insights, and it's really helpful to kind of refresh your industry knowledge and to use it together with Google Trends in order to find out more about potential customers. Okay, so I think we're through with the presentation. And now it would be time for questions. But first of all, I would like to kind of apologize for these people who did maybe not have the ideal experience because the video kept buffering, or I see that there are issues with the images which were unclear. So don't worry about that. The video will be uploaded and you can watch it again. And we will have a look at it, but there should be no issue then. But now would be the time where you can ask live questions. So even if you don't see us, and if you have a question, you could ask it now, we will answer it, and you can even see the answer later, like hear it later when it's uploaded. And the same goes for the question about the remarketing material or the general remarketing topic from Peter. It will also be uploaded with the video, with the content of the video. As last time, you will be able to find these materials in the community, but it will take a bit of time because first of all, it needs to be uploaded, and then you will be informed once it's there. And then you can also interact with the materials. So.
Exactly, and there is already one question that has been asked about app placements and how effective app placements would be, and if we have any experience with app placements. So indeed, as I went more deeply into talking about targeting methods, app placements is one specific form of content-based placements. So with app placements, you basically consciously choose to only show your ad, if it's an image ad, show your image ad to people who are currently using a specific app. Now, this can be really, really interesting if you have the knowledge that, for example, your users by default must be users of other certain apps. So then you can actually choose to show your image ad in this specific app. And then it can be a very, very powerful way to really show your ad in this specific context and when people are engaging with their app. Also, what we can see is that when people are using an app, they're actually very engaged because they are on their mobile and are specifically engaging with this specific app. So that's a great way to leverage this. Now, what is important, however, is to really understand, and whenever you launch a new campaign, a display campaign, try to see how much, what share of traffic is coming through app placements and how they're performing. And then, it might make sense if you want to control your budget and your impression shares between app placements and actual website placements, to set up two different campaigns so that you can, control your budget if it's going into app placements or actual website placements. Exactly.
Well said. Couldn't have summarized it better.
So if you have more questions, feel free. We're happy to answer. You're very welcome. I'm glad that answered your question.
Yeah. If there are any other questions, we can give you a moment or two to just, there we go. To just type it down, and then we will try our best to answer them. I would say this is a good question, actually, as this is a current hot topic. But nevertheless, display ads are very relevant, even though there might be ad blockers in place. There's still a large proportion of customers who don't, or users who can be potential customers who don't even use ad blocker. And even if Chrome has its own ad blocker, it will definitely not be irrelevant, as you can have many platforms and many ways of targeting your display ads. And I think you can also use the performance reports and see that it's working out, and you can see on which websites you're not as successful, maybe due to these ad blockers, and just draw your conclusions by trial and error. But we would not promote it if it wouldn't be relevant and useful. So
I think, what is really important, and the question for those who haven't seen it, is if display ads if they're still relevant today. And when it comes to display ads, I think it's really important to sometimes, also think about the behavior online of oneself. And if a display ad is relevant to a user, all basically comes down to the creative, the moment, and the actual content you're showing it in, and if it's relevant to the user. So if you, in the end, choose your targeting right, create your ad in the right way, and show it to the actual user you want to show it to, it will be relevant. And there is, as Karen said, when it comes to ad blockers, there is a huge amount of people who do not use ad blockers. And ads are a very lively way of engaging with them. And so, if you choose your creative and targeting right, and you can actually find the users that are interested and to whom your content is relevant, then definitely they will relevant.
And see it in a positive way. These people who decide not to use ad blockers might even be more open-minded to your ads, and then you will not kind of waste some or have some targeting that goes into nowhere, and you just target these people who are willing to engage with ads. So any other questions from you? Otherwise, you can also post or interact or engage in the Google AdWords community for startups, and just post your questions there and interact and with each other. You're welcome.
Welcome.
If you don't know it, ad hoc. If you don't have any issues, ad hoc. It's a lot to take in. It's a lot of content. It's a lot of explaining. It's a lot of details. So I think...
I think we'll give you a minute or two more in case you have any more questions that pop up. All right, there is a new one. Okay, so the question would be that although the person hasn't made any conversions, he has been advised to invest more money in display. Now, how he should take this advice. Now, what is really important is to understand a customer journey. And when you actually, start up a business, have a new idea, obviously it's new. And people who are looking for this actual service or know about your existence, they maybe aren't there yet. So it's really hard for you through, pure search campaigns to get conversions, because people are not really looking for your business because they don't really know about. So the way to go and to get your idea out there and to get users actually, being aware about your services and your new offerings would be display ads and investing into display ads. Because what happens is, what we can see is when you start to invest into display, people awareness and consideration of users that could be interested in your services start to increase. Now, what happens is that, for example, we may not see any or a lot of direct conversions from display ads. So that would mean, okay, if we start to show image ads to people who really, correspond to your target audience, this might not result in direct conversions. Why? Because people are very unlikely to click on ads and then immediately, take the action you want them to do and resulting in a conversion. But what could happen is that they see your ad several times by just impressions without clicking on it. So that's already basically 3 impressions you get in display, which help you brand your startup. And then instead of clicking on the ad and making the conversion through a display ad, what could happen is that they go on search, and then the next time when they're ready to actually purchase or whatever your conversion action is, then they go on search, type your brand name, and then they convert. And then this conversion actually only happened because you invested in display, but then in the end was done on search. So that's really important, and again comes back to having this full funnel strategy. So really try to make sure you have an answer and try to engage with users at the different stages of the customer journey. Exactly. So that's where the advice, to come back to your question, where the advice comes from, to advise to invest more into display despite you not having direct conversions, because it helps you get people more considerate and more aware of your brand. And then, you push them through slowly but steadily through the customer journey. And in the end, a conversion might result, however, maybe not directly through display.
Again, couldn't have said it better. I think this
Perfect.
answers all the questions. And as we're running out of time, we would now conclude. And you can definitely post your questions in the community, and we will try to answer them there. Okay, so thank you all for watching and visiting us, and hopefully there will be many more series, and you will definitely be able to also suggest some input in the community. So yeah.
Thank you very much. I hope this helped. We're very happy to hear from you in the community, and wish you a good Monday.
Yeah, stay engaged.
Bye-bye.
Bye.